Hey guys, it is Mike from Baltimore Rides here. I am wrapping up my Wednesday night with you guys. It is Thursday in the wee hours. It's about 3 a.m. I had a pretty good night tonight, I'm not gonna lie. I started around my normal time. I didn't get into the city till about 4, with obviously traffic and driving all the way down there. But I had a good night. My plan was really simple. I wasn't even going to worry about the dollars. All I was going to do was just try and grind as many trips as possible. And so, I'd had a kind of a soft night on Tuesday. I only think I did 17 trips. My quest goal for $100 is 70 trips. So, 25 a night gets you 75, and that was kind of my mental number in my head was, look, I've got to do about 25 trips a night to get where I need to be. With me only doing 17 last night, I felt like I was a little bit behind the 8 ball. Tonight, ignoring the money, not really thinking about dollars, just focusing on grinding as many trips as I possibly could. I did 24 trips. So, am I there? No. Do I have a long road to climb tomorrow to get to 70? I do. But the good news is, it's a manageable number tomorrow. It's not an impossible. It's something like, 28 or 27 trips to get to 70. I feel that's doable. It's going to be a hard road to climb, but I've done 30 trips in one day. So it's possible. But the really pleasant surprise is I did $205 in sales. So, in fares. So, kind of forgetting about the money for a minute, not really thinking about it and just working, I was able to, just grind and let the business just kind of happen on its own. I did reposition a couple times. For some reason, I kept getting pulled down to Alexandria tonight. I got down there like 3 times, and most of the time I wasn't able to really get trips out of there, so I'd end up having to cross the bridge back over before I could really get a decent fare. So, be that as it may, I was able to kind of keep myself on point. I really just kept my app on almost the whole night. I really hardly ever turned it off unless I had to use a restroom. But I just kind of pushed myself, and it worked out fairly well. The night was steady. I wouldn't say it was busy, but I think the city was steady. And that's the thing. If you're willing to put in the hours, even on a Wednesday night with no real events going on, you can still do $200. You can still do 20 something trips, and and make the numbers you need to make. And that's the good part about this process, is that if I can grind out $200 on a Wednesday night with no real events in the city, then that means my Fridays, my Saturdays, and my Sundays, those numbers are going to be strong. Those numbers are going to be strong, consistent 200 plus numbers if I can get 200 out of a Wednesday. When I just take my mind off of the minutia and I just stick to the plan, I avoid the airport. I was telling somebody tonight, Reagan is kind of a trap, because you commit, 15, 20 minutes to get there, 5 minutes to 10 minutes waiting, 5 minutes to get out of the airport. So you've lost 30 minutes right off the bat to get a fare that's $10, $15. I'm better off avoiding the airport and just staying on the other side of the river, staying on the Maryland, D.C. side, and just working. And I was averaging roughly $10 fares all night. I mean, I really was. They were, between the 1.4-ish surge boost that was going on most of the night, and the distance on the fares, they were, on average, they were 3-4 mile fares. So that plus boost, plus a couple longer trips that took me to Alexandria, that were like $15, $17 fares. So a couple of them, and then a couple, decent $9, $8, $10 fares. I had a really good average. I mean, $200 on 24 trips, I'll take that. That's a good average. So that's kind of where you are, where I am. Now, am I happy with my city mileage? No. I mean, obviously, city mileage and the fuel economy in the city trips is a little bit of a killer. I've used 3/4 of a tank tonight, just about, maybe a little bit less than that. And that's frustrating because, obviously that eats into your profitability just a little bit. But all in all, if I can keep doing this 5 nights a week, then 5.5 nights a week, then my $1,100 to $1,200 number is there. $1,150 is now my new target, which covers my Uber lease, and then on top of that makes me my $1,000 a week. But if I can squeeze $1,200 out of a week, that'd be beautiful. I think it's possible. I would like to say that's consistent. I haven't hit it yet, but I think it's possible with time and practice. So, that's kind of where we are. I do want to touch on one other subject real quick. It's been in the media. It's been on Facebook. Uber's kind of unwinding a couple things that they rolled out. And I'm going to give you my 2 cents on those things. The 6 destination trips per 24-hour period. It was great when I was working the airport because it would allow you to bounce back and forth to the airport more consistently. Now that I'm not working the airport, I hardly use destination mode, guys. I use one on the way down to the city. If I get a ride really far out of the city, I might use one to get me back to the city. But really, for the most part, guys, I'm not even using destination mode in any, significant way. So going back to 2 is not going to affect my business plan at all. The other piece is Uber Exchange or Exchange Leasing, which is Uber's, fleet lease vehicle model, is coming to a close. And the sour grapes of that is that they realized, somewhere in the board of executives, they realized that the vehicles were coming back more abused than they thought. So this is the details that have come out. They are losing money overall on average on their vehicles that they're leasing. And this is why. It's not the mileage, it's the wear and tear that the vehicles are taking. When they get them back off lease, they're coming back and they're not able to recoup their loss. And so I chalk that up to barfing, customer abuse, damage, that sort of stuff that's happening in a lot of those vehicles. The driver not taking care of the vehicle, minor body damage. I don't know any of this for fact. This is me speculating. But for them to say that they're bringing back vehicles that are significantly more worn than they expected, that's the kind of stuff I'm assuming they're talking about. But I've confirmed with Exchange Leasing that any leases that are on the road, they are going to honor and continue. It's just they're not going to issue any new leases. Now, Uber's idea is that they don't own any vehicles. And they're nowhere near ready to launch a automated driving fleet of Jetson cars. That's way off in the future, guys. 10 years minimum. So, for their model to really work, it's kind of like eBay. They're not doing any of the heavy lifting. That's where their contracted drivers come in. We own our vehicles. We absorb all the costs, and that's why they give us the lion's share of the fare. However, they did try this, as a way to flood the market with drivers. They did, this leasing was a great option, similar to Lyft's rental program. It's a way to put vehicles on the road for drivers that really had bad credit, or no credit, or just couldn't get a vehicle. So, I lucked out. I got one. I'm going to keep mine for the full 3 years. I'd always planned on doing that anyway. So, it's not a problem for me. Will you see other options out there for rideshare drivers to get vehicles? Yes, you will. you'll see something else come out on the market. Lyft has a rental program. There's kind of other third-party rental programs out there. I don't know if that's the most viable way to do it. My throat is hoarse tonight, guys. So if my voice is cracking, that's why. I don't know if that's the most viable way, but just like ride sharing is, in its infancy and it's evolving, I think that will evolve too. So, if you're out there and you're listening to the media, you're reading all the Facebook posts, just take with a grain of salt. A lot of people, drivers as included, want to slander Uber. They want to make Uber out to be the enemy or horrible or, bad or whatever. They want to put a negative spin on Uber for a lot of reasons. Maybe because they've been driving for a long time and they've seen the business model change. They've seen their profits decrease because now there's more drivers, there's more competition on the road. And I've told you guys time and again, we're not at a saturation point. We're not at a point where there's not enough, there's too many drivers and it's, detracting from business. But, there are those drivers out there that were making ridiculous amounts of money in the, what I will call the Wild West days of ride sharing, the first few years where there just weren't a lot of cars on the road. And so there was always surge, there was always, ridiculous, price incentives, and they were able to just make a killing. And those days are gone, now it's kind of the, ride sharing's booming. There's a lot more people doing it. So, for the people out there that want to just portray Uber negatively, I think as a reader of reading an article or reading, a news article, Uber's a scapegoat company right now. The media loves to portray Uber as a villain, because it kind of suits their narrative that, Uber's the big bad company that doesn't take care of its people and doesn't, appreciate its passengers or its drivers. Its executives didn't appreciate their employees. That's the kind of the David and Goliath story of the media right now, is that, they're monsters. I'm not going to say I'm pro or con against Uber. I'm going to say I'm a private contractor, which is what drivers are. I'm using the system. I'm working my way with my plans and my strategies to make money. I'm doing it by the books. I'm not breaking rules. I'm not doing shady stuff. I'm just working, smart, not hard. You guys have heard me say that. It's my motto. And as Uber changes their stuff, whether it's services, apps, whatever, I have to adapt. That's what you have to do in life. You have to adapt and evolve. Pool, I haven't really experimented with it enough tonight to say whether it got better or worse. I'm going to just keep my eye on it for a little while and see. The 2 destination mode change doesn't really affect me in this current model. So, while there may be people out there that were using it a lot, I was when I was at the airport. I'm not anymore. So I'm not going to cry over it. Exchange leasing, if they had rolled back and pulled vehicles off the road like mine, that would have been game changing. But they're honoring the existing leases. They're just not putting any new vehicles on the road. So for those of you that were thinking about getting a lease, it's plan B time. That's going to make things a little bit trickier for you. I apologize that that happened. It's nothing I can control, but I still feel bad for you. But there are companies out there. I just don't know the names of them. It's worth checking into. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, guys. But the one thing you can control, and I've kind of talked about this, is something that doesn't come from Uber. It's not on the app. Is your attitude. If you're positive and you're hopeful and you have a good plan and a good attitude when you get in your car, that carries through. It carries through into your fares. It carries through into your tips. It really drives a lot of what your business becomes. If you're positive and you have good energy and your customers have great interactions with you, they're going to tip you. You're going to get good survey ratings. All that stuff is going to kind of feed the fire and keep you warm and healthy. You know, if you get in your car and you've kind of got a sourpuss face and you're not happy and you're grumpy or whatever, your customers are going to read that body language. They're going to sense your discomfort or your discontent. They're not going to want to be in that car with you. They're going to give you a poor rating. They're probably not going to tip you. And that cycle's going to continue. So just be mindful of that. You know, it's hard to do, but be mindful of your attitude, because it affects a lot of what you do when you're in your vehicle. It really does. You know, that's my thoughts for tonight, guys. I don't have a whole lot rattling around in my head tonight. My allergies are killing me. My throat is dry from my Zyrtec. And, you know, I feel confident that I'm going to make my quest goal. It's going to be a push tomorrow to get the number I need. I feel like the week's off to a good start financially. You know, I feel like there's some good stuff in the works. I just, you know, I want to fine tune a couple things. I did not use Lyft at all last week, so I've got to find a way to get active on that app at least a little bit in the week, just to make a couple rides, just to keep them, you know, awake. So I will do that, and you know, I'm going to get back at it tomorrow, guys. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Get some rest. I know I need to get some. And we'll just keep this train rolling. Talk to you guys later.